Hi, everyone. Sorry I cannot be with you in Lausanne, but by the time you watch this, I will be in California, doing as I usually do at this time of the year, working with the executive MBAs in Silicon Valley. I hope you have good memories of that. Anyway, as many of you know, I made a drastic decision in my life exactly a year ago. And several of you asked me if I could talk about that, how it is I came to the decision to walk away from my job, my title, my cushy office at IMD, and to go out and become an independent teacher and consultant. Now, this is something that I should say right up front, it was my own decision. This wasn't something that I decided because things were falling apart at IMD or I didn't like what I was doing. I loved being at IMD. I really enjoyed being at IMD. And by the way, I should mention that I made this decision at the same time that my wife and I had found the house of our dreams and bought it right on the lakeshore. We still had 1.5 kids to get through university. So financially, this was not a good time to leave a job, where you get a paycheck at the end of each month. There's a nice bonus in March of each year. You have great colleagues. You have great participants like you to work with. But I just turned 55 years old. Now, I never made the calculation of 65 minus 55 means 10. I've got 10 years to make my mark, but still it was there in my head. 10 more years to do something that I would be proud of, that would have an impact on the world, that would be exciting. I'd also was just coming up on my 20th anniversary at IMD. Now, I'd stepped out of IMD and been able to do lots of different things on the side with IMD, especially with startups, but still, 20 years with one company. And not long before that, I had finished my doctorate. So a big developmental stage behind me. It's like, now what? And I knew that if I stayed at IMD, I probably was not going to do something different. Matter of fact, IMD's president had said to me in a very nice way, Jim, please just keep doing what you're doing. It works. And that's very nice. That's a compliment. And I guess I could have. IMD's a great place to work. But I decided that if I stayed, the chance of doing something different would never come up. If I left, there was no guarantee that something new would come up, but there was a chance, there was a probability, a possibility that something new would come up. And then November 2012, where were you in November 2012? A certain Friday evening, I was sitting in the big auditorium at IMD at the graduation of a certain EMBA class. And Patrick Demesner, the CEO of Adecco, was giving the keynote speech. I'd invited him in for that. And one of the things he said was, if you're not learning from your boss, quit. And I have to tell you, that was like a light bulb went on over my head. I said, that's it. I can't keep doing this. That was a Friday night. 6 nights later, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I quit. I resigned in my head. I told my wife, I told my father, because I didn't want to go back. I wanted a route of no return. I didn't want to go back on my decision. But then what? What do? You go out and find a job. I had this idea that I could be an independent consultant. So I did talk to a few people who might be clients, and I got a very resounding yes back from them. But still, I wasn't sure. I was a little bit uncertain. I have responsibilities. Those of you who know me well know me that I don't just do things rashly. So I chose 8 people whom I knew very well and who knew me very well and who were very highly placed in industry, sent them my CV and said, here's 4 different things that I think I can do at a very high level, very well. What is your advice to me? All 8 of them responded. All 8 of them met with me. And the funny thing was, all 8 of them agreed that the best thing for me to do at this stage of my life was to go out as an independent consultant and teacher. But still, there was this nagging feeling, and I was afraid to make the leap until I had breakfast one morning with one of the best leadership professors I've ever known, Jean-François Manzoni. If you ever get the chance to work with him, do, even if he's at NCA. And Jean-François identified for me my problem. He said, well, you know what you want? You want IMD to tell you, when you announce that you're leaving, don't leave, you can't leave. We're going to make it so that you can't leave. We want to keep you so badly. He said, that's what you want to hear. We all want to hear that. Get rid of that. That afternoon, I resigned. That was it. And that's when I decided it was time to go to. Now, of course, I wanted to make it easy for IMD's president, and a lot of the advice I'd gotten from the people I'd spoke to was, when you leave, you don't burn your bridges. Go in there, make this easy for them, and Things I said like, listen, you need to get me out of the way. I'm the old guy who's been here for 20 years. You need to get me out of the way so that new, fresh blood can come in, et cetera. And Dominique was very generous. We had a very good discussion. And that's what I think has allowed me to keep a very strong relationship with IMD since then. So now it's been a year on my own. And I have to say it's the best decision I ever made in my life. Some people have asked, well, shouldn't you have made that decision 10 years ago or whatever? And I don't think so. It's not so simple. I think there was also the fact that at this point in my life, I was ready to take the leap to be an entrepreneur again. I also had built up the competence and maybe the wisdom and contacts necessary to do this. No, I shouldn't have done it earlier, but having done it, I look back at this with no regrets whatsoever. I've had a year so far full of all kinds of assignments, working with various multinationals, teaching a lot of other different schools, getting even more interesting assignments from IMD, increasing my workload with the executive MBA and loving it just as much as I always loved it. So at the end of the day, this has been a great experience for me. Financially, stable. Yeah, I'm not a rich man, but I haven't lost anything either. I'm still able to pay that mortgage and pay for those kids at university. So it was a great decision. I hope this helps you because, leaving a job, sometimes we don't get the choice. But if you have the choice, it's something that has to be thought through. Why am I doing it? Why am I doing it now? What am I going to? What do I like? What do I not like? And what am I leaving behind? And how am I leaving the people behind that I walk away from? Those are all things that are not simple to figure out. And I hope that my little experience is something that can be of use to you. So again, my regrets for not being able to be with you in Lausanne, but I hope this little video is something interesting and useful for you. Good luck in whatever you're doing now, and I hope our paths will cross sometime soon. Thank you.